There we go. The goals. I'd like you to have a comprehensive knowledge of what it means to do a YouTube channel, what that entails. And if you are on the fence about doing one, I would absolutely love to inspire you to do it so that when you leave this room at whatever time, 2:30, 2:40, that you're like, I got ideas, I'm gonna do them, I'm excited. I did a hand thing with YouTube. How many people watch game development videos on YouTube? Awesome. How many people have content on YouTube? Yes. That's awesome. How many people want to do or continue to do content on YouTube or even, TikTok, Instagram, something like that? Awesome. All right, I don't have to evangelize too much. So if you're on the fence, I hope you're inspired. Whoop, let's not skip that far. There we go. Why you? Why should you do a YouTube channel? I'm gonna get on my soapbox and I'm gonna put it away and not come back to it. There are lots of reasons to do YouTube or social media. You can do it for fame. You want to be famous. You want to be the next Pirate Software or whomever you want to be. You want to make some money, which is not a bad idea. You want to have control over your content and your stuff you do. YouTube's a great way to do that. You want to have independence of your ideas, your creativity. You want to have control over that. You don't want to rely on someone above you to decide whether your ideas are good enough and whether people should know about them. You can decide. And maybe you just want to hang out with people that like what you like, that are interested in what you're doing. If you need a why, over the past 3 days, we've had some really great talks, some great sessions all about game development, about Godot, people making, creating things. Right now, and other places in the world, there are other people having meetings just like this that are focused on taking, consuming, stealing, or destroying for their own benefit. You are not those people. You are makers, creators, innovators, inventive. You're artists, truthfully. I know there's that debate about video games, are they art? Absolutely, they're art, 100%. In fact, they're almost in music you would call opera sort of they call it that, the ultimate art, right? It comprised so many different art forms within it. It was the ultimate thing that you would compose, would be an opera. Well, let's think about video games. Do you have creative writing? Yes. Do you have graphical arts of many different types? Yes. Do you have music? Yes. Do you have acting? Yes. I don't know that there's anything you don't really have in the beginning, to be honest. You even have live acting now, right? Like facial stuff. So video games are arts, and as artists, you have the power, if not the responsibility, to make. You really do. So whether you're a coder, you're a game maker, a designer, you're all artists. And throughout history, people have looked to artists who may not be artists themselves or think of themselves as artists for inspiration, whether to create themselves or maybe they've had a really crappy day and they need something to feel better, right? Artists have often been looked at for that. For understanding and for hope. Hope is a good thing. So why you? Because the world needs you. The world needs creators. They need makers. There's a push, and I know that downstairs there's an AI room, so we're kind of in a weird space. There's a very real and dangerous push to get rid of makers. By people who don't make, they take. And so I think now more than ever, the ability to control what you do and control what you make is so important because they can't replicate your creativity, your ingenuity, or your humanity. They can't do that. So that's why you. So why YouTube? Attention! There's going to be a lot of Zelda stuff in here, just so you know. get attention on your stuff. Literally, you could upload a video on any of these social media platforms like YouTube, and 10 people could see it, which is cool. 50 people, 1,000 people, a million people, they could see your stuff, which is insane because it's very little work. Like, seriously. There are people who become, TikTok famous because they recorded a room in a hotel room for 5 minutes. And all of a sudden they have like book deals and shows, and it's insane. So attention, get eyes on your stuff. Why? Because you want control over your stuff, okay? You want to become maybe your own publisher. You want to become your own marketer. Have control over the attention that your stuff gets, when it gets that attention, and who you're communicating that attention to. And ultimately, you're not relying on somebody else to directly communicate with who's interested in what you're doing. You can have a conversation with that person like that, right? Freedom. Work on what you want when you want to work on it. And obviously that's not the easiest thing to get, but it's possible. It's very possible. My YouTube journey, I said this earlier, I was a music therapist, I still am. And I worked at a cancer hospital from where I'm from. I work with children with autism, wide variety of use cases. I had the idea to implement VR with music therapy. I coded that. I worked with Unreal. Well, I didn't work with Unreal. I worked in the engine. And I created some stuff that I thought was really, really interesting to myself, and what I knew would be very good for what I did. I presented that to the IP department at the hospital. I had a meeting with 2 guys over Zoom, I think it was, and they said, "Yeah, it looks interesting." And I said, "Yeah, I'd really like to make this. I want to make this myself." They said, "We know people in India. We're going to outsource it. We could do that. Don't worry about it." I didn't like that idea. And ultimately, they said, "We don't think we can make money from this." And that was it. I had this really big idea that I thought was important, spent a pretty decent amount of time on it, my time, not paid time, and even offered to, in reality, include them in that property ownership. That's what that meeting is, really. And they said no. So I quit. I said, I want my ideas, and this is not going to work for me. Now I still do music therapy. I don't do it in that framework, but I knew that I was not going to operate in that environment. And so now I'm a stay-at-home dad. Also, we were going to start a family, so I knew that was important. I wanted to be at home with them. I've been doing YouTube for about 2.5 years. I originally started in Unreal, moved into the Godot Engine. I've got 50K plus subs, and it's my full-time job. But I will say with a caveat that full-time is probably 2 to 10 hours a week. But it's a full-time job, okay? So the roadmap of what we're going to do is going to be quick. Overview of my philosophy for YouTube. And again, you can ask questions. Please do. I'm going to try to do it like a lightning answer as quickly as I can. Quick like Sonic. And at the very end, because I really want to touch on this stuff, but it is maybe a little bit of an extra technical production and some words of wisdom. So let's get rolling. The Triforce of YouTube. The creator, that's you. That is probably the most important thing of any of this, because you are you. You are the human elements. You are trying to communicate with the other human elements. Without you might as well just read a web page, right? You are the most important aspect of that. So let's talk about that for a little bit. People want that relationship with you, which is why you're so important. And it's really not any different than your just sort of day-to-day social interactions, right? So try not to think of it, again, like your question with the camera. As much as you can, it really is having a conversation like I would have with you right now. It's a lot easier when there are people in front of you, but that's what you want to try to convey. Pick a channel name. It's it's hard. It really is hard. You're sort of like stamping your persona and who you want to be. Have it be something unique, something catchy, only in the sense that you don't want it to be super generic. It has to make sense. Random numbers and letters, probably not. Something that's related to what you're doing, whether that's game development, whether that's with the Godot Engine, whether with, it could be anything. That's helpful, just because people are going to see that, and they'll connect those two things. Channel presentation, which is what you brought up. 3 different sort of categories that I view this as. Voiceover, which again, you're not worried about anything with camera. It's just your voice. Lots of people do that. Like this guy. He has, at least when I took this image, which was like last week, 1.35 million subscribers, and each one of his videos probably gets at least 500,000 views. Never shows his face, ever. Just his voice, and it is a soothing voice, I will admit. He has a really, really soothing voice. But even his videos are not drastically YouTube-y. They're not entertaining in the sense of colors and sounds, and he actually does a really good job with music, I'd have to admit. But it's interesting, and he's very sincere about what he's doing, and you can hear that in his voice, and obviously through what he's making. Talking Head, Thomas Brush over there, about 400,000 subscribers, tons of games. That's a game that he's making coming out. It's basically, he is a brand, right? So he's done the camera thing. He has very high production value in his set. He knows how to use those things. I mean, he's paying people actually to do those things and edit his videos. Like that's his persona. So he's gone with a talking head thing. But if you see his face on a thumbnail, you know who that is, and you know that that video is his video. And subconsciously, if you like Thomas Brush, you're going to click on that video. Or a VTuber or character. There's DevWorm. If you don't want to do that, but you still want to have a persona, you can do that. Be a character. Which one? Whatever you're more comfortable with. And you don't have to just pick one and stick with it. You can do many different styles. I've done Q&A videos, which is just sitting down and talking, much like Adam Savage does on his channel. The weekly videos that I do, the This Week in Godot, it's just talking. It's just a voiceover. I don't have a character. I guess the music video was kind of a character. Yeah, you can mix it up. You can do whatever you want. And ultimately, I don't think it truly affects your end result. You're still going to get views. People are still going to connect with you if you are being your true self. The content, the juicy stuff. I kind of view it as a 2 different plan of attack. Okay, so content is content, but there are ways to categorize that content in terms of its goal and how you implement it. I view it, if you're going to talk like a FPS framework, either you're going to be a sniper, okay, like you're very focused on the type of content that you're creating. Let's say you are making give me a genre game. Any game type.
FPS.
FPS, well, not that one. Any other game type.
JRPG.
Puzzle.
JRPG, boom, right there. Let's say that you are just so passionate about JRPGs, and that's the kind of video you want to make. And you do a style of video where you create a JRPG, you make tutorials about it, and that's the only video that you make. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to get views. You're going to get an audience. That audience is going to be very targeted. There's going to be people who are interested in JRPGs and want to build them. What is that? Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. It means that everybody who watches your videos, it's very niche to what you want. And you could get 1,000 views and still be successful. You could get 500 views, still be successful. That's totally fine. And that's the snipe type. Now, the downside to that is growth is a little slower because your audience is smaller, right? Run and gun. You're just firing from the hip. You're going to try lots of different types of content. And there's really no pattern, or there can be a plan, but there's not necessarily like, I'm going to make 10 videos about this type of game, and at the very end, this is what's going to be done. You might throw out a humor video. You might make a music video. You could just random stuff. The good thing about that is your audience, your net for your audience. People often in YouTube talk about like circles, like Venn diagrams, right? So your net is wider. Your audience could be bigger, but you may have more subscribers, which are meaningless, by the way. They're pointless. As I don't know exactly when, but they've been pointless for a little bit. But not every single one of your audience is going to be interested in every single one of your videos. And that can have some effects on some of your analytics. It could have effects on your click-through rates. You know, what videos get shown. If you have 5 videos that someone doesn't care about, they're not going to see your videos anymore. It's going to take another one for it to pop up in their browse. So how do you navigate that? What do you do? My approach, and I think people that are focusing on YouTube and growth like that would be pretty similar, is early on, run and gun. Try stuff out. You don't have an audience. You don't have a risk of losing anybody because you don't have anybody to lose yet. See what happens. Try some stuff. Be creative. Take some chances. Those run and guns eventually can turn into snipe content, okay? Later on, when you have more of an audience or your audience is getting bigger, then focus your content because you know what they're expecting. And you know if I post this type of video, I'm going to get probably this many views, this many people that are interested in it. So it changes sort of in a macro level, but it can also change at a micro level. So this is my weekly series that I've done. I have 124, that's why I said 124 videos. I've done it every week for 2 years. And this is where I showcase, initially it was 10, but now it's 5 games that you guys are making in this engine. And it was a run and gun. It was a test just to see, hey, maybe this will do something. And I stuck with it a little bit, and it had, I thought, some potential. But now it's a snipe. I do the same thing every week. It's basically like, I even have a schedule for when I do it, and it's a snipe. That's what it is. So your content can change over time as well. So video types. Evergreen, that's going to be content that is search engine related, content that's going to get views over time. You can have viral videos. Thank you, Unity. Now you think you want viral. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want viral. Viral is bad. It's good for a little bit, but then it's bad. Repeatable content that is going to be different, but it's the same thing. People know what to expect. And then creative risks. It actually was my first viral, relatively. And it was just like a challenge video. It was like a random thing. Okay. Here, let's look at some numbers. So Evergreen Content. This is the first-person shooter over 576 days. That is one straight line. Okay. It gets about 600 views, 300 views every day, mostly through search content, playlist, external. That is probably not going to change drastically. Okay. Compare that to our viral video. It's a really, really steep line over there. I don't know if I've gotten a view on that for half a year, truthfully. Now, when it hits, it hits. You felt it. Go ahead.
Would you also say that on a viral video, the comments might be different?
Yes. Yes. I have another video that was quite. Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. Interaction of any kind is good. If it's somebody telling you to do really terrible things to yourself or whatever it could be, it's a comment. YouTube doesn't care. Unfortunately, they don't moderate it that greatly. It's a comment. Ignore it. Move on. They've helped you, really. And people are going to stick up with you, totally. People will respond. Don't respond. Ignore. As a parent, If anyone's been a parent before, planned ignoring works. It does. So if there's a troll, ignore the heck out of them, okay? Repeatable. Repeatable is very much like evergreen content, except it's not really search related, but it can be. This is, I think, even my highest viewed video, best-selling games. Not a hard video. Probably a day to make, honestly. 300,000 views. Creative risks can be a little bit of both. They can pop off, they can flatten out, they can become search engine material. It's a mix. So when you're making your content, you want to do a mixture of all these things, understand how they work within your niche. These are just some related types. We can move on from that. The plan. Okay, I really want to talk about this. We're going to move quick. You can absolutely just make videos to make videos. That's totally fine. That's great. But the magic is when you can make it work for you. So, roadmap. You're starting a channel. Make 10 videos and don't think about it. Make 10 videos that you want to make. Don't worry about the views. Don't worry about the subs. Don't worry about comments. Just make videos, okay? You finish your videos, you look at them, you analyze them, say, hey, this one video did better than the other ones. Why is that? Figure out what that is. Try it again. See if it repeats itself. It's a process. It's a really big science experiment because the data is all there. It really is. As you grow, you're going to find there's a niche. And the niche is something that's really resonating with whoever YouTube has deemed to give your content to, okay? And a lot of people are going to want to expand that. It's like, oh, I found people. I want to find more people. I'm going to try this. Something totally different. Don't do that. Niche down. You want to get more focused in your content. If you start off as a tutorial person and you want to make tutorials and it's working, like if it's working and it's going well, don't jump off and like do skit comedy, okay? Because you're going to alienate your viewers. You might gain some. They're not going to mix. Maybe they do. Maybe you end up just really having the right tone, right everything. More often than not, it's not going to work as well as you think it will. Find your audience. That's the most important thing. Things that will help you determine that. Click-through rates. 20% is great. Amazing. 10% is excellent. 7% is good. Below that, you can do better. You can. And I don't mean in the sense of this video is like 2 weeks old almost. Well, a week old. And this is a weekly video that I do. Initially, that first 24 hours is going to tell you what your click-through rate is. So if it's 10% after that first 24 hours, go ahead.
What is click-through rate?
Good. Okay. YouTube shows your video on the browse screen or whatever it is. And every time that happens, it's an impression. If someone clicks on that video, they know that, obviously. Actually, I think they even need to watch the video for a certain amount of time before it counts. And once that happens, they count as a positive click-through rate. Now, if they go on the video and they jump off in a second, that doesn't count. Go ahead.
So in the YouTube app, you can watch a video without clicking on it now, and I'm guilty of watching an entire video without clicking on it.
Yes.
Does that count as a click-through rate, or is that just an impression?
I think people do think it does.
Okay.
It's a click-through rate. Yes.
Sure.
After you watch that through a certain period of time,
Yep.
it's a click.
Okay.
So click-through rate is important. You want it to be high. That's your thumbnail. That's your title. I would say title is probably more important than thumbnail sometimes. View duration. You want that to be as long as possible. YouTube wants people on their platform. They want people to watch ads, and that's why that measurement is important. Time-wise, it's based on your video. You're not going to get 30-minute view time if you have a 2-minute video. So it's really about percentages. This is something that you will see. It's your engagement percentages there and how that changes over the video time. You get little bumps in there. Those are the chapters, which may or may not be a good thing. They mark the first 30 seconds of your video. And you want that first 30 seconds to be 70, 75% retention or higher. That's a good video. You've done a good job. After that, you want it to be nice and flat as can be. But if overall it's 50%, that's pretty good. That's especially in this day and age when everybody's flipping through stuff on the dopamine kick. 50% retention on a 5-minute video is pretty darn good. So aim for that. If you can get higher, you're going to know it's good because your results are going to show up. Money. Okay. Adsense. You will get some money from Adsense. Game development is not a very lucrative ad category. There's something called CPM. That is cost per mil, cost per 1,000 views. Game dev is about $1. You get about $1 for 1,000 views from Adsense. Now, if you have a lot of videos, it adds up. I do about 300 a month or so. That's passive. It just happens at this point. But it's 2.5 years, so I mean, it's a decent amount of time. Sponsors. If you get videos that have a decent amount of views, or you're very, very super targeted, game development's a little, there's a lot of people everywhere. They want people in certain countries. That's been my experience. But if you get views, I would say probably 10,000 views or up. If you get up to 20K, you're going to have people email you and communicate with you. And they're going to ask you to do stuff. They might ask you to do stuff by giving you something for free, like a product. Don't do that. You don't work for free. They're going to pay you if you want to actually do that sponsor. How do you do that? There's actually a really good Discord for this. It's much better at talking about it than I am. I think it's like YouTube creators or something like that. I should have put it in there. But the rule of thumb is $25 CPM. So every 1,000 views that your video is going to get, you multiply that by 2025, that's your fee, okay? In terms of like a 30K, 40K video, that's over 30 days. An integrated versus dedicated, two different things. Integrated might be 60 seconds. That might be $750 that you charge for that, or higher. Dedicated video, you multiply that by 1.5 two times. So that could be $1,200 to $1,500 for like a 5-minute video, okay? That's what people will tell you is a rule of thumb. But sponsors can give you money. It's a tricky situation, and I know I'm just gonna hit time. Got 1 minute. It's a tricky situation just to know where you are, what you're willing to put on your channel. So think about that. Patreon memberships. There are lots of people and creators that use that. I don't know if anybody knows who Ryan Lally is. Ryan Lally. He's an Unreal creator. 100,000 subscribers. His videos get maybe 2,000 views, but he uploads every day. They're tutorials, and he puts that source code behind a Patreon. And there is a source to see how much people make. He probably makes $3,000 a month from that, at least. Passive income, okay? Patreon is a good way to do that, and people are wanting to support you. They truly are. Paid courses. Thomas Brush has a paid course. Other people have paid courses. Funnel people to a paid course. Probably host it yourself. Don't give other people your hard-earned money. You can do it that way. Sell assets. And I love to see this more in this community, at least. It's great to have free open source resources. Absolutely. But even within Blender or Unreal or Unity, people are making bank by making assets. And assets are easier to make than games. In fact, when you're making a game, you're probably making 4 or 5 assets. Make those available. They don't have to cost $100, you know, $5, $10. So, and maybe you don't even want to make a whole game. You just have an idea about a plugin. Assets are a great way to do that. And then finally, make games. If you have an audience who's interested in what you're doing and are really loyal to what you're doing, they're going to follow you. You can see this over and over and over again by people who are already doing this. And there's no reason that you can't do it too. We're not going to make it. Production. Okay. Good audio. Don't have bad audio. Get a good mic. Get an audio interface so you can control the preamp. Pop filters so you don't pop, pop, pop all the time. That's bad. Just get a good microphone. Because if the audio is bad, people are going to tune out like that. Not all, but why? It's a microphone and you sound professional. Do it. Video. Get a mirrorless DSLR camera if you want. Phones are fine. Phones are so good now, you can just use a phone. 1080p baseline. That should be the baseline resolution. It's easier to work with, easier to edit in. 4K is really good if you can do it because you can zoom in, move yourself around, frame yourself a little bit better. And it actually does kind of look sharper when it gets downsampled. So 4K is good. 30 frames per second to 60, unless you want to look like you're in a Spielberg movie. Do 24. That's cool too. Set. Reverb. Reverb sucks. You don't want reverb in your videos. So don't do it in a room. Has no carpeting, nothing on the walls. You're going to sound like you're in a can. Put blankets on the floor. When you're speaking to the microphone, put a heavy weighted blanket directly behind that to capture some of that reverberation. You can use tools to remove it, but then you sound like a robot because they're just not that great. So try to reduce it as much as possible. Some is fine. You're not going to notice it, especially if someone's listening to it in an open room. It's going to get mixed in the room anyway. But on headphones, you might. I don't want to miss this because this is super important. Lighting. If you're doing video, light yourself. Okay? This is the primer. All you need to know. Okay? You want a really bright light, the key light, at 45 degrees from where you are. And that can be that big softbox thing. And if you can get a honeycomb thing, that's perfect. You can get that Rembrandt lighting, you know what I mean? You could just use that. Be really artistic about it. Get the key light. If you have a secondary light, these can literally just be like Philips colored LED lights. They're fine, okay? You can adjust the ISO on your camera. You'll be okay. Fill light. Not as bright as the other one. Other side, 45 degrees. If you got glasses, I'm sorry, it's really hard, but you can kind of get the glare, get rid of it. If you want to be super fancy, put the backlight behind you. If you've ever looked this up, you've probably seen this picture. Key light coming from over here. Fill light coming from over there. And he put the backlight on the other side. So backlight's behind him over there. Which one's better, right? Huge difference. Takes 30 minutes of work if you have the equipment. Never have to change it, never have to move it. You're going to be like better than 98% of the people doing it. Just like that. So do it. That's that softbox over there. Ring lights are fine too. Philips lights are good. Editing. DaVinci Resolve. It's free. Every minute of video that you make is going to be, ooh, that's not right. Every minute of video is an hour of editing. Okay? So think about that. Recut, awesome program. It's $100, but if you record a video, it deletes the silence portions of you messing up automatically. If you do any voiceover stuff, it cuts it all out. It will take you hours to do it by hand. It will take recut 5 seconds. So if you're going to do that, get recut. It's amazing. Create templates. Music is good if you want it. Doesn't matter too much. And learn shortcuts. I use the Stream Deck and have the key things on there. All right, I'm going to make it. Some words of wisdom. Consistency. The most important thing you can do is treat YouTube like the stock market. Honest to God. You're going to put your time in there and you're going to let it grow. And you're not going to look at the views. You're not going to look at the subs. It is consistency and time are going to beat out every other person who might be super talented. You might have Tom Cruise want to make a YouTube video. Not that they're Tom Cruise, but they could have the talent of Tom Cruise if you think he's talented. Robert Downey Jr., that's maybe more for this crowd. Robert Downey Jr. The talent of Robert Downey Jr., and they went, oh, into YouTube. And they could do it, but then they quit after a month, right? They have all the tools, but they didn't have the consistency. Have the consistency, you're going to beat out everybody. Just keep doing it. Even if you don't get the views, just keep doing it. You're going to win. You're going to be a retired millionaire in 20 years. Don't do YouTube for 20 years. That would not be good. Get better every video. Even if it's by 0.1%, get better. YouTube, it's not a sprint. It's going to take time. Set a time goal of 2 to 3 years. And say at 2 years, I want to be at this point. And let that be your goal. Not, I want to have a 1 million view video in 2 weeks. That's not going to work. Don't go viral. And I'll tell you why. Because you'll get a video with a lot of views, but you're also going to have a lot of people who they don't care about your stuff. They might have cared about that one video, but they're never going to click on one of your videos again, ever. It's going to tank your stats, and you're going to get caught. If you go viral early, you haven't done the work early on to know yourself and know your content, that you're going to be lost and not know what to do. And then you're going to feel all this pressure. I got to get another big video. I got to go viral again. It's random. It's completely random. But don't try to go viral because it's not going to work. Don't chase views. You're going to want to look at your phone and check your video every so often. Do I have more subs? It's going to feel really good. It's going to give you that dopamine hit. Don't do it. It's not going to matter. You do it long enough, you don't look, you don't care because you know what's happening. Just don't do it. Skip that part. Subs don't matter. They don't. Subs don't get your videos. They don't do that anymore. They don't send your videos out to all your subs anymore. It doesn't happen. They changed it. Contacts do. If you can take people that watch your videos and get their email address or put them on your Discord or have them on some other platform that you control, that matters. Because now you have communication with people who care about you and what you do. So don't worry about your subs. You could have 100 subs and make $100,000 in a year. You don't need subs. Interact with your audience. Comment. Dealing with trolls, we talked about that. Don't do it. Let them suffer in silence. Efficiency. You're going to do a lot of things a lot of the time that are repeated. So find ways to shorten that time, make them faster. Like when you're editing, when you're recording, make sure those things, that workflow is quick because you don't want to spend time doing that. Burnout is super real, so take a break if you want to take a break. It's okay. No one's going anywhere. No one's going to not go on their phones after 2 weeks. I don't know if this is like even, don't share your videos on other platforms. It doesn't work. If you share a YouTube video that has no views and you just upload it to Reddit, you're going to tank your video. It's just going to happen. Reddit users don't go to YouTube. Reddit users go to Reddit. YouTube users go to YouTube. TikTok users go to TikTok. They're all separated. And there's some overlap. But if they wanted to go to YouTube, they would be on YouTube. It's just right there. So you're just going to hurt your analytics, your stats, and your video is not going to perform in an organic way that YouTube wants, which is they want users to share it after they view it, not right after you publish it. So don't do that. And don't do it on Twitter or anything like that, because then Twitter doesn't even share it, because they don't want people going to YouTube. Like, it makes sense. Don't do it. Be yourself. But don't be YouTube all the time. It's a separate thing, right? You can't be just engrossed in it. And you can do it. PBS Arthur, believe in yourself. Okay, believe in yourself. You can do it. Have fun. And thank you. We made it. Yeah. All right.